we'll start in a seated position like we always do. Just coming into a nice, straight, aligned spine. Letting your shoulders relax, head balance on top of the spine. Take a deep breath in. Big exhale through the mouth. Kind of relax. And just feel your attention moving deeper, deeper, deeper into you. So you can feel your skin. You can feel your muscles, you can feel your bones and your joints. Maybe you can even feel or sense your organs, and you just notice everything that feels fantastic, and also whatever else might need your attention in your practice. You make note of that. Start breathing a little deeper and slower. Ujjayi breath would be great. And as you're breathing, go ahead and check in with your mind, with your heart, with your energy, with how connected you feel. And then use all of that information to set your intention for your practice today. So bringing palms together in front of the heart, we just pause and get really clear about what we need. And then take a deep breath in. One more time, exhale through the mouth. And let's go ahead and transition onto hands and knees. So we're going to limber up the spine a little bit. We're going to be doing some gentle front body openers today. So cat-cow is a great place to start. Rounding the back as we exhale, arching the back as we inhale. Just loosening things up. And then if you'd like to throw in a little bit of lateral movement or circular movement or anything else, you're welcome to do that. And then on your next exhale, we'll go ahead and take child's pose. From your child's pose, scoot into Sphinx to lengthen out. And then we'll take our first downward facing dog. So just pedaling out the feet if you need to, but then finding stillness and really focusing on lengthening, which requires that your fingers be spread, your palms flat, and that you're pushing through your palms, like you're pushing the floor away so that your hips can reach up and back and the heels can sink down. And then we'll walk our feet forward, keep the knees bent. Hang and ragdoll for a couple of breaths. And then on your next inhale, come all the way up, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up and stretch, and just pause for a moment with your arms overhead. Spread the fingers nice and wide, lift your rib cage up. Just feel length on the front side of your torso, nothing more, just length. And then ever so slightly, tilt your pelvis back, lift the rib cage a little higher for more length on the front side of the body. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and fold forward, bringing fingertips down. Look up halfway, lengthen your spine, and then back down. We're going to step back with the left foot. So we've got a right foot forward lunge. Just hold that for a moment. Take a couple of breaths. Let your hips kind of sink towards the ground. And then we're going to go ahead and drop the left knee down. Bring your arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back. Let your hips move forward. If it feels okay in your body, bring your arms behind you. Interlace your fingers. You can kind of keep your hands low. You want to squeeze the shoulder blades together. You should still be tightening the muscles at the base of your left buttock, and that's about where your hands are. And so you can just imagine, or actually slide the hands slightly down the back of the left thigh, only if that feels okay. Bring your hands down on either side of your right foot, gaze forward. Begin to extend your right leg. We're just going to get into that right hamstring. So you're flexing the ankle and toes if you're able. And then from here, go ahead and take your right knee to meet your left knee. Give yourself a tail wag. Those of you doing full-on vinyasas, you may take off at this point. Anytime we're doing child's pose, you can take a full flow. The rest of us will go ahead and take that child's pose. Take a breath into the low back. And then you can either do Sphinx or Cobra. Whichever one you choose, the second time through, really focus on the heart opening aspect of it, making sure shoulders are down the back and the chest is forward. And then downward facing dog. From here, we'll step the left foot forward. Coming into our lunge, allowing thighs to separate, allowing the hips to move a little closer to the floor. So we're just kind of surrendering to gravity, allowing the weight of the pelvis to stretch out front of the right hip in this case and back of the left thigh. And then we'll go ahead and drop the right knee down. Arms are up and overhead. Pelvis tilts back, hips move forward. From here, if it feels okay, interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades together, keep your hands low, and if you're able, you kind of slide the hands down the back of the right thigh a little bit. Hands come down on either side of your left foot. Extend your left leg. Flex the ankle and toes. Pull your heart forward. Step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Interlace your fingers. Press your palms up towards the ceiling. Lift the chest a little bit. See if you can reach just the arms back. It's kind of like your armpits are stretching. Then if it feels okay, rib cage lifts a little more. Maybe you roll your rib cage back slightly. You should not feel compression in the low back, just opening up front side of the torso. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway.
Exhale, back down. I'd like you to step back with your left foot, spin your left heel flat, and come up into warrior two. Just find your alignment for a moment. Let's reverse our warrior. Left hand on the left thigh. Your right arm's gonna reach up and over. You keep your right knee bent. Make sure it's still kind of pressing out towards your little toe. But what I want you to look for is sensation of opening on the right side of your torso. And then we're gonna come up and straighten the right leg. Lengthen the rib cage to the right. Come into your triangle pose, wherever that is for you. And then we're just gonna slightly change the emphasis in our triangle. Your left hip, which is the one that's on top, imagine that your left front hip bone is gonna kind of tilt down towards the mat, and your left rib cage is gonna roll open towards the ceiling. So you're getting a little bit of a twist here, but you should also feel this in the front of your left shoulder and the left side of the chest. Bring your left hand down, step straight back to downward facing dog and stretch. Step your left foot forward, spin your right foot flat, and come up into warrior two. So now we're on the other side. Just check your alignment and then reverse your warrior. Right hand on your right thigh, left arm up and over. And so again, making sure everything stays aligned, but focusing on opening left side of the torso. And then from here, we'll come back up and straighten the left leg, lengthen out, finding traditional triangle first. So you want to lengthen your spine. You want to just make sure you feel aligned and you do it the normal way. And once you've really kind of settled into that, then we just kind of tweak it a little bit. Right hip is going to slightly rotate down towards the floor. Right rib cage is going to slightly rotate up towards the ceiling. So it's a minor twist. But again, you should be feeling this on the front of your right shoulder and right side of the chest. Bring your right hand back down, step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up, and I want you to step back with your left foot. Find your warrior one. So we want to try and have our left heel flat. Hopefully hip bones are somewhere close to squared off at the front of the mat. The right knee is bent, the arms are up and overhead. Take a moment here, get settled in, feel strong and stable. And then we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back again, just like we did when we had our knee on the ground. If you can, squeeze the shoulder blades together and just slide your hands underneath your left buttock. So kind of down the back of the left thigh. Come on up, keep your fingers interlaced. Fold forward, taking right shoulder to right thigh, relaxing the neck, reaching the arms up and overhead, humble warrior. Come back up from that, release the arms all the way up and overhead. First dancer pose, you're gonna lift off. Keep your right arm pointing at the ceiling, grab your left foot with your left hand, tilt your pelvis, and find your first dancer pose. As you come up, put your left foot down beside your right foot, bring your palms together. Inhale, reach the arms up. Step back with your right foot, warrior one on the left. Take a moment, find your alignment. Right leg straight and strong. Hips are rotated forward, left knee is bent. If you can, interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Slide those hands down the back of the right thigh if possible. Keep your fingers interlaced. Come back up. Folding forward, taking left shoulder to left thigh, relaxing the neck, reaching the arms up and overhead for humble warrior. And then come back up, release the arms all the way up and overhead, warrior one. Keep your left arm pointing at the ceiling and just reach back with your right hand, grab your right foot. Pelvis tilts back. Remember, we're opening up the whole front side of the torso here. So if you press back with your right leg, you should feel it on the front of your right shoulder, right side of the chest. As you come back up, put your right foot down beside your left foot. Palms together. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Step back onto your hands and knees. Now, obviously, you're going to modify and honor any shoulder issues you have going on. But if you're able to, we're going to do full heart opener. Some of the younger teachers call it puppy pose, which is super cute. You can call it whatever you want, but it's a doozy on the shoulders if you've got issues. So you may need to take your hands wider than the rest of us. So just know that. We're going to keep our thighs vertical and start reaching the arms forward, nice and straight, so we can get our forehead to the mat. If you have very happy, flexible shoulders, you might get your chest and chin to the mat. Either way, the arms stay extended and we're trying to sink the chest down. And you have to breathe while you're doing this. Come all the way back up, all fours. Wag your tail a little bit. And then if you can, I'd like for you to reach back with your left hand for your right foot or ankle. Pull that leg straight up towards the ceiling. So what you should be feeling here is front of the right hip, front of the right thigh, and front of the left shoulder and left side of the chest. Bring it back down. And we'll switch sides. If you can, reach back with your right hand for your left foot. It can also be your ankle or your pants if you need it to be. And then everything extends up, up, up towards the ceiling until you feel it in the front of your left thigh, left hip, and front of the right shoulder, right side of the chest. Release down. Give yourself a little tail wag. Those of you that would like a full vinyasa, take one. The rest of us will take a quick child's pose, which is a nice counter pose to what we've been doing. And then shift into either Sphinx or Cobra. And then downward facing dog and lengthen. From here, I would like for you to find your way all the way flat onto your stomach. So we're going to be working with half bow, Ardha Dhanurasana. We're not going to do full bow. So the halves are a little bit easier, but again, if you've got knee issues or something, please be mindful of that. We're going to start with our left arm extended, the left hand and the left foot are going to stay on the ground. Your right hand is gonna reach back for your right foot or ankle, if you can reach it. And then the idea is to simply lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. You should feel this in the front of your right shoulder, right side of the chest. And release it down. You'll notice it kind of looks like you're doing dancer pose lying on your stomach. Surprise! So right hand stays flat. Right foot stays on the ground. Left hand reaches back for the left foot or ankle. And you lift up, up, up towards the ceiling. We're looking for stretch. And release down. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. Press back into downward facing dog. Really create space in the spine. Lengthen. Make sure the heels are moving towards the floor. And then walk your feet forward. Big inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So those of you who are nice and astute noticed I said first dancer earlier when we did it. That's because there's a second dancer and it wasn't the one that you just did on your stomach. This will depend on your shoulder mobility, but if you're able, we're going to do an unusual dancer and then we're going to grab the foot with both hands. Now, if that is not accessible to you, you'll just do it the usual way. But if you're able, the idea is that we'll use the leg strength to open up the shoulders. So we're going to start on the right leg. If you can, reach back and grab your left foot with both hands. You're going to stay upright for this one. Keep your chest lifted. Kind of tilt the pelvis back. And then just begin to press your left leg back until you feel this opening, stretching, front of the shoulders and front of the chest. Release your left foot back down. And if you can, we'll do the same thing on the other side. You'll stand on your left foot. You're going to grab your right foot or ankle with both hands if you can. Kind of stay vertical on this one, not a lot of a lean. Right leg extends behind you until you feel it on the front of both shoulders. And release your right foot back down. Feet together, hands together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. We're going to move back on the hands and knees again. Just kind of give your bum a little wiggle. And then from here, we're going to go into a modified side plank for the purpose of opening up the chest. And then we're going to be taking it into a weird version of threading the needle, also designed to open the chest as well as the back of the shoulder. So just so you know, strange transitions are afoot. We're going to kick our right foot out to create that tripod effect. Left leg extends. Left hand reaches for the ceiling. And then I want you to really focus on moving that right foot if you need to so that you feel very stable, because I want you to really roll your chest open towards the ceiling here. The idea is to feel the stretch in the front of both shoulders. It's like you're trying to get your heart to look at the ceiling. Now, if you have the strength to do it, you're just going to come up to kneeling. Legs are still in the same position. Lean forward and put your hands on the ground. Now we're going to take the right arm underneath us. Doesn't matter if you can grab your left leg or not, but I want you to try and roll the left side of the chest open again.
So it's threading the needle, but it's kind of a big twist. And the idea is so that you can let that left arm drop open behind you and get a stretch in the front of the left shoulder. Now, again, I'm going to ask you to use a little bit of strength. If you can, come all the way back up. Left hand on left thigh. Right arm reaches up and over for locked gate posture. And then from here, we're going to take that right hand back down where we got it. You can just let your left knee and your left hand come to the mat. Wag your tail. Now you kind of know what you're in for the other side. So we kick the left foot out. So we have a tripod effect. Right leg extends, right arm reaches up for the ceiling. And then as much as you can, you roll your heart open, open, open towards the ceiling so that you feel this on the front of both shoulders. You want gravity to kind of help you with this right arm so that you're feeling that stretch. And then if you can, just come on up and leave your legs as they are. Lean forward, so you're on hands and knees. So you're kind of sideways on your mat. Your left arm is going to scoop under for threading the needle. Maybe you can grab your right leg, maybe not, doesn't matter. You'll still be pretty balanced, and you should be able to let that right arm just roll open. Right rib cage faces the ceiling. So you're getting a twist. You're feeling a little something behind your left shoulder blade, but you're also feeling front of the right shoulder, right side of the chest open. If you can, you're going to come all the way back up. Put your right hand on your right thigh. Left arm reaches up and over for locked gate posture. Now we're opening up the left side of the torso. And then we just bring this left hand back down to the mat where it started. Right hand and right knee join it. Give yourself a little tail wag. Those of you doing vinyasas may take one. The rest of us will take a child's pose and take a couple of breaths, breathing into your low back. And then we'll scoot forward, Sphinx or Cobra, your choice. And then downward facing dog. Push the tailbone up and back and stretch. From this downward facing dog, you may walk your feet forward, have a seat, extend your legs, pause for a moment in Dandasana, and just kind of check in. So you've done a lot of front body opening. And even though I kept telling you to focus on front of the chest and front of the shoulders, the front of the hips got quite a bit of opening too. So we're going to kind of counterpose all of that. You want to notice how everything's feeling. And then when you feel like you're good and you're still connected with your breath and you've reminded yourself of your intention, let's go ahead and round over our legs today. Please move mindfully, particularly if you have neck or upper back issues. But what I'd like you to do is to keep your hands on your knees or thighs. Tuck your chin into your chest, which is technically Jalandhara Bandha, one of our locks. And then slowly, slowly, slowly start to curl down. Kind of like you were going to put the top of your head on your knees or thighs. Take your time. Breathe into anywhere that you feel sensation in the upper back. And then come on up from that. We're going to keep the right leg straight. Left foot comes to the inside of the right thigh. Lean out over your right leg. Just stretch for a few breaths.
And then coming up from that, we're gonna pick the left foot up and bring it across the right thigh with the left foot flat. Now, if you need to, you can hug your left knee and kind of lift up. I want you to have a very straight spine here. And then keep your right hand on your left knee for now, keeping your chest really lifted. Reach your left arm way around behind you, farther than you normally would. So not directly behind you, but way back. And then you can either keep hugging the left knee or you can bring your right arm outside of it. But the idea is that your left arm should be so far back that you're feeling this twist, not only as spinal rotation, but also opening in the front of the left shoulder. Rotate back around, extend your left leg out, wiggle. Keep left leg straight, right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh. Lean out over your left leg. Pardon me. And then coming up from that, take your right foot across your left leg. Right foot is flat. You can hug with both hands on that right knee and lift your chest, get a straight spine. Now keep your left hand here for now and reach your right arm way, way, way back and around to help facilitate the twist, but also that right front shoulder opening. So you can continue to hug the right knee or you can bring your left arm outside of your right knee. But you want to feel this in the front of the right shoulder as well as your traditional spinal rotation. And rotate all the way back around. Extend your right leg out. Give your leg a good wiggle. Now, I would like for you to bring your hands behind you and just see, I know some people have wrist issues, some people have shoulder issues. Just see what it feels like to have your hands not right behind your backside, but a little farther back. Fingers pointing at your bum. See if you can do that. If so, keep your hands like that and just lift your chest up and push it forward. And take a couple of breaths here. Now, if this is bothersome for your wrists, you can do this on your fists and you'll be staying in this position. You can also rotate the wrists out if you're only going to stay in this position, but there's a second phase to this. If your hands are okay with it, we're going to go into phase 2. If your wrists don't like it, you're just gonna be on your fists and keep pushing the chest up and out. Otherwise, hands are flat, fingertips are kind of pointing towards your bum. We're going to do true tabletop. So in a lot of modern yoga classes, the teachers call coming onto all fours tabletop, but there actually is a tabletop pose in yoga, and it's an upward facing pose. So that's the one we're doing. If you're with me, you're going to bring your feet flat. They're about hip distance apart. And the idea is we lift the hips and try and get as horizontal as possible. It is a lovely front shoulder opener, which also means if you have shoulder issues, be mindful. So if your wrist can't handle it, chest is lifted and pushing forward. If you're with me, hips are lifting. You're trying to get as close to horizontal as possible. And breathe. And lower back down. Extend your legs. Everybody interlace their fingers and just roll the wrists a couple of times. Make sure you go both directions. And then just shake your hands and your wrists out. Good. And then from here, we're gonna go ahead and roll onto our backs. So I want you to just roll on down, hug your knees in, rock side to side. And we're gonna work a little bit with our bridge pose. So we'll be doing it twice, just so that you know. If you have back issues, you can do this with a neutral spine and still lift the rib cage. But if you don't have back issues, we're gonna really try and get the front part of the body to open today, okay? So we'll be working on these. Your feet should be flat. I'd like your big toes to touch and your heels to separate. So if you kind of feel down, your heels should be right about sit bone distance. Now, really, really ground through the big toe and little toe side of the foot as well as the center of the heel. Every part of the sole of your foot is flat. Hands or palms down by your hips. The first thing we do is tilt the pelvis back, no curve in the low back. Push into the feet and lift your hips. If you need to keep your spine neutral, no worries, this is it. Rib cage starts to lift. Now, for those of you who can, you continue to push through your heels. You continue to lift the hips. You continue to lift the rib cage. If you like interlacing your fingers underneath you and pressing the arms flat into the floor, do that. But we're gonna push really firmly through the entire sole of each foot, lifting the hips as high as possible, really working in our bridge pose today, lifting the heart and breathing deeply. On your next exhale, lower down and just pause. Just let your backside rest on the floor. Don't do anything else. We're not done yet. Please don't counterpose yet. Just take a breath. Feel into your body. Notice if you feel like there was anywhere that you needed to make an adjustment, because here we go again. Same thing. Really pressing through the soles of the feet to lift the hips, lift the rib cage, and then continue to lift. So you want to keep your pelvis tilted back so there's length in the low back, but you want to push your hips as high as you comfortably can, and then truly lift the rib cage. It's kind of like your chest is moving towards your chin. You're welcome to interlace your fingers underneath you if you like that, but I want you to really focus on opening and stretching the whole front side of your body. One more breath. And lower down on your exhale. Now you can hug your knees into your chest and rock side to side. I know you probably wanted to do it in between those other ones, but thank you for waiting if you did. So just rock back and forth a few times. Let the floor kind of settle down the low back. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and transition into a super gentle twist, but the emphasis is going to be on the upper body. So for those of you who don't do reclined twists, you can actually still do this safely if you're mindful. What we're going to do is keep the knees bent together and roll all the way over onto our right side, literally onto the right side. Extend the arms out in front of us with the palms touching. And then if you look down at your knees, you'll see that they're vertically stacked and they're together. We want to keep this because we're not working on the hips or the low back. We're working on the chest and shoulders. So knees stay together and stacked. And then you start to just open your left arm back out to the left with the palm up. Now, if you're tight, like I am, your left knee is going to want to slide back or your knees are going to want to separate. I'm going to encourage you very strongly to keep control of your body and not let that happen. So what we actually want is for the left shoulder blade to be off the ground. Now, in my case, my whole arm is off the ground. Even better, I'm getting more effect. So gravity will make the weight of your arm the perfect amount of tension on the chest muscles and front of the shoulders. So really all you have to do is breathe and make sure that you're maintaining your knee alignment and that the knees are together. One more breath on this side. And then really we're just kind of rolling onto our backs. Go ahead and hug your knees in and rock for a moment. Hopefully you felt that on the front of your left shoulder, left side of the chest. And then we're gonna do the same thing in the opposite direction. Just roll all the way over onto your left side. Arms are extended, palms are touching. You look down at your knees, they are perfectly stacked and together. Left arm stays where it is, knees stay where they are, and just the right arm reaches back behind us. We want to make sure the knees stay together and stay stacked. Once you're in position, if you want to use your left hand to keep your right knee where it belongs, that's fine. Hopefully, even if you're very flexible, the right shoulder blade is still off the ground, even if your right hand and arm are touching. And so if that's the case, then you just allow the weight on the right side of the chest and right shoulder to just stretch and open. Please be mindful of keeping your knees together and vertically stacked. One more breath on this side. And so on your next inhale, just roll onto your back, hug your knees in and rock side to side. Good, now from here, we're just gonna play a tiny bit with a modified fish pose. So if you can, just bring your feet flat onto the mat, cross your ankles, and let your knees drop open. So it's kind of like a cross-legged position, like what the little kids say is crisscross applesauce. And if that doesn't work for your knees, you can even just leave your knees pointing straight up if you like, but we're gonna do this with the knees bent today. So once you got your legs happily relaxed in a crisscross applesauce position, I want you to just prop up onto your forearms. So imagine you're just kind of hanging out, having a conversation or watching television or whatever, right? And then all we're gonna do is bring the elbows slightly closer together. Your hands can be right beside or even slightly tucked underneath your bum. And then all we're doing is lifting the rib cage. So the very center of your heart, your sternum starts lifting up, 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 up towards the ceiling. If it's comfortable, you let the head drop back. If not, you may continue to look at the ceiling. Keep lifting the chest. Take 2 more deep breaths here. Slowly lower back down, hug your knees in and rock side to side. And then from here, you get to do a little happy baby action. So go ahead and grab your feet, wiggle around. If there's something else that you would rather do, by all means, do whatever you want to do. It's your time to freestyle.
When you feel like you're ready, you can bring your feet flat onto the mat. We're going to do those little gentle breath-centered hip rolls. So when you exhale, you're going to let both knees drop to one side. The hips gently roll. You inhale the legs back up. And you drop both knees to the opposite side. This can be a tiny movement or a full-on twist or anything in between. But you're just following your breath. So your hips are slowly rolling in time to every inhale and exhale. Let's go one more time on each side. And as you feel ready, allow your knees to drop open with the soles of the feet together. We're going to slide our arms along the floor until they're all the way up and over our head. Interlace the fingers, but extend the index fingers. So in this position, basically your thumbs are touching the floor over your head. Take a deep breath in, reaching strongly through your index fingers and pressing your knees down towards the floor. And then just notice how the front of your torso feels. So from your pubic bone to the base of your throat, you're very open here. I want you to take 3 extra large, deep inhales and exhales. As you finish your third exhale, relax your body. Let your arms come down below the shoulders. Palms are facing up, just like you're going to want them for Shavasana. And then we're going to lengthen the low back here. So the next time you breathe in, I want you to press your low back into the mat. It's like you're trying to get every little bit of skin in contact with your mat. You don't want any space in the low back. So you'll feel your pubic bone kind of scoop up, your pelvis is tilted back, your back is very flat here. Take one more breath. And then the next time you breathe out, just allow your hips and your low back to relax. So now the natural arch has returned in your back. Now you do have space between you and the mat. So one more time, we're going to remove the space. The next time you breathe in, flatten your low back, press it strongly into the mat. Take another normal breath. And then the next time you exhale, release, relax, begin to extend your legs, separate your feet, relax your buttocks, lengthen your spine and your neck, relax your jaw, close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Big exhale through your mouth as you release, 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 and let go. Feel how your body just settles gently, softly towards the mat. Feel how, as your body does that, your breath kind of settles. And when your breath slows down and gets quieter and shallower, so do your thoughts. They don't stop. The thoughts never really stop. But they become slower and gentler and softer. And you'll notice that there is more space between them.
So this practice gives us the capacity to find peace in the space between the thoughts. We do all of our asanas, our poses, to get our body muscularly balanced and to release tension, but it also shows us the contrast between movement and what we're resting in now, which is stillness. In the same way that we have sound that shows us the contrast for silence. In the same way that we have thoughts which show us the contrast with absence of thoughts. If you'll allow your thoughts to come and go, you'll begin to notice and savor that space between the thoughts. That's where the stillness and the silence and the clarity reside. So for the next few minutes, I'd like you to simply watch for the space between your thoughts and really savor that quiet space, that pause, that contrast between the thinking and the not thinking. If you notice that you've gotten involved in a thought, that you've been carried away by it, that's okay. Just recenter yourself and begin again, watching for the space between the thoughts. Just slowly start feeling back into your muscles, your bones, your skin, your organs. Move your fingers and toes a little bit. Start to deepen the breath. When you're ready, on an extra deep inhale, spread your fingers and toes, and then exhale through the mouth as you relax them. Breathe in deeply again as you stretch, 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 and then again, exhale with a sigh and relax. Bend your knees in whatever way is comfortable for you, and then roll onto your right side. And press yourself up to sitting. So as you come to your nice, straight, aligned spine, just take another opportunity to check in. Body, breath, mind, heart, energy, connection, intention, all of it. And then bring your palms together in front of your heart. So today we're going to be doing a pranayama, a breath practice. That is a left brain, right brain integration breath. So you'll want your eyes open for this. You're going to watch the movement of your hands. And let's just do the first one together, and then I'll have you do 2 more sets on your own. So just kind of follow my direction, and I apologize, I will not be mirroring you, so you guys will have to know your right from your left. So as you inhale, you're gonna take the right arm out and all the way around to the right and follow it with your eyes. And then as you exhale, you're gonna bring that right hand all the way back in, watching it as you go. Inhale the left arm out, follow it with your eyes, reach it all the way back. You'll feel the stretch in the front of the left side of your chest. Exhale, bring it all the way back in, watching the movement. Your third breath, you gaze forward and take both arms out on the inhale, reaching back, stretching open the chest. And then as you exhale, the palms come back together in front of your heart. So it's right arm, left arm, and then both arms. We're gonna do that 2 more times, so 2 more sets. So as you're finishing out and your palms are touching in front of your heart, just take a moment in gratitude for both sides of the brain, left and right, logical and creative. For both types of energy, male, female, yin, yang, hot, cold, solar, lunar, all of those beautiful balances. And have some gratitude for the balance that you've created in your body, in your mind, in your heart, in your life, and really gratitude for this life. We are so lucky and so fortunate to be alive right now, right here. Take one more huge inhale through your nose. Big happy sigh. We bring our palms together in front of our foreheads, and this just reminds us to be present, to stay in the moment. We bring our palms together in front of our mouths, and it reminds us to speak our truth, even when it's challenging. And we bring our palms together in front of our hearts. We're reminded to keep our hearts open. Really, it's the only way they work. It's the only way that we can experience kindness, compassion, and love. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Namaste.